Today I am out at Van Hook Falls. Well, the trail to Van Hook Falls. I'm not out there yet. Now, I've never actually gotten to the actual Van Hook Falls. In fact, I have hiked this trail twice, and both times I failed to get all the way to the titular falls. The first time, it was because I thought I had overshot it. That was the first time that I tried recording. And in fact, you can look at that video on this channel. That time I thought I had gone too far because I wasn't used to adding distance for going and pick up the camera, setting down the camera, setting up the camera, and all that. The second time I had done what you should always do when you hike, which is inform somebody of roughly when I was starting hiking and roughly when I would be ending hiking. And I was running out of time and I had to make the return trip, so instead of potentially involving search and rescue, I decided I should start heading back. In fact, I was maybe 1/10 of a mile away from the falls. I apologize for the road noise, but we are right next to the road for this beginning part of the trail. So what we're looking for today is something on the order of waterfalls and probably do a little bit of talking about shutter speed. Alright, let's roll the intro. Okay, so one of the reasons that I decided to come out today, of all days, why pick today, was it's been a little rainy, not like torrential downpour, but, we've gotten some rain. So what I was hoping for was that the creek would be up, and therefore probably downstream we'd see a lot of activity in the waterfalls, right? Because a waterfall with no water is not a waterfall. But as you can probably see behind me, that is not a lot of water, and it's not really running right now. So it's looking like today might be a little bit of a bust. But let's keep hiking, and hopefully things change for the better. A lot of the times, if you listen to any sort of modern photo advice, you'll hear that you should never, ever, ever, ever in a million years, if you can avoid it, shoot during midday or like after 9 a.m. or something like that, or when it's not blue hour or gold hour, because the light just isn't as good. And there is a key caveat to that, and that is when you're in the woods. Because a lot of times it's got a lot of interesting highlights that are formed just by the canopy. And that usually doesn't happen, especially if you're in a valley, at sunrise or sunset. Alright, so I'm taking a little break. As you might be able to tell from the sound, I'm right next to the main creek in the area. And I think I see something that way. It's kind of a little secluded tributary that's draining in. And there's some it looks like some cascades, maybe a little, like, real small waterfall. It should make for a good shot. I don't know. Let's go check it out. All right, so we've got the shot lined up, and we're gonna focus in on the rocks that are closest to the cascades. The reason that we're doing this is because the water's going to get blurred because we want to do a long exposure here. So focusing on the water really doesn't make sense, but we want the rocks to be sharp, right? So we're going to focus on the rocks. Now, at ISO 100 f8, I don't want to move my aperture larger than f8. I don't want to go to like f22, even though I could with this lens. And note, we are using the 7200. This is a telephoto situation. The reason why I don't want to go above f8 is that I'll lose some detail. I believe the term that's commonly used is diffraction. And basically what it is when you use a really small aperture, the aperture itself will interact with the light in a way that may cause your image to lose sharpness. And we don't want to do that here, so we're going to shoot at f8. Now, I accidentally bumped my tripod, so I've got to recompose the shot. There we go. No harm, no foul. So at f8, we're currently at a half second. So let's go ahead and take it at a half second and see what it looks like. I might want to put the 6-stop ND on. Okay, that looks good. Actually, I want to go a little bit darker with it. So I'm actually going to go down to -2 EV because there's some bright spots on the rocks. And the dynamic range of the camera should be enough that I can get away with that. Alright, let me go grab that ND filter. We'll slap that on and see what happens. We put the ND on. What we're going to do is we're going to put it down that same -2 EV. Do a little bit brighter by about 1/3 of a stop. It's going to be a 10-second exposure. And there we go. Although in the time that it took to put the filter on, the light has changed slightly. I'm actually going to want to lower it a little bit more. We'll do a 6-second. Remember, the faster the shutter speed, the darker the image. So lowering the exposure means we got to do a shorter image. Alright, that looks much nicer. Just for safety, I'm going to do one more. Just for reference, we're going to shoot it at the proper exposure value. Because sometimes what you see on the back of the camera is not exactly what you're getting, right? Because you're getting a RAW file. The back of the camera is actually showing you a JPEG image, right? And it's a JPEG image based on your set picture profile. So even though that information is not getting written to the card when you're shooting RAW, it still affects what you're seeing on the camera because the camera can't show you the RAW file. Okie dokie. I officially made it to the Van Hook Falls for the first time. Now, earlier in the video I was afraid that there wouldn't be enough water. But Looks like there's enough water. Time to go home for some photos. I probably won't bring you along with me. It looks a little sketchy. But hopefully I get some good shots. Finally made it to the Van Hook Falls. I think I got, you know, 2 good photos. Hopefully they both come out. I mean, filming the hike back, that seems rather inconvenient. So instead, I think I'm just gonna throw you straight to the outro. Alright, well, see y'all.